Hey, travelers, we're on location in Dallas, Wisconsin. We're at Valkyrie, one of our most favorite breweries, of course.
I'd say one of the best off-the-beaten-path breweries a person can find.
Absolutely, yeah. Little Dallas, Wisconsin, population 409. At least that's what it says on the sign when you come into town.
409, also
409.
good for cleaning your tile.
Absolutely. Thank you, Troy. Dynamite drop in, Marty.
I don't.
I mean, Monty. It's a movie reference. You'll never get it. It's fine.
I get movie references, but we're in Valkyrie nonetheless.
Yeah, we're at Valkyrie nonetheless. And so, we've got some beer to try. We're going to talk a little bit about the brewery. Later on, we're going to have Randy, one of the co-owners. He's going to talk with us about Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And let's just dive into the beer.
First
and
of all,
we can...
he's going to talk about Valkyrie. I was going to try to get him to talk about his opinions on tap dancing.
Great. We've never had anything about tap dancing on the vlog, so we'll do that. I look forward to it. I think you're going to throw him for a loop.
Modern ballet.
Modern. What do you think?
Too modern?
Not modern enough. Huh? All right.
So before we really dive into the beers here, I'm gonna tell people why I think Valkyrie. Landon gave us a bunch of great information, but what makes Valkyrie truly special, it's an OG of craft breweries. They've been around since 1994. So if you're doing math, that's a long time. That's over 20 years.
For those of you that are a little older, OG, original gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So they've been around that long, and yet they've managed to hold on to their charm. They've managed to hold on to this really unique beer lineup, really unique personality in beer. And if you've watched the show a lot, you'll probably come to the realization I really can't stress that enough, being able to make beers that are not just the same beers that every other brewing is making, but make beers that are unique to you and special to yourself.
And I can honestly say nobody else is making these beers. They may be making the style. But they're certainly not making this. No.
Valkyrie is truly a unique brewery. So it's without further ado.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. And of course we're going from light to dark.
The first beer on our list is the Swan.
It's the Swan Maiden.
Swan Maiden.
Yes, it's a Kolsch.
Yeah, a Kolsch style beer.
Yes.
For those who don't know, comes from Cologne, Germany. It's a light-bodied hybrid beer. One of the first hybrid beers. It's a lager fermented. It's an ale fermented at lager temperatures.
Okay.
It's the opposite to the alt beer, which is a darker version of this. It's meant to be crisp, clean, easy drinking. Sometimes a little dry fruit flavor and a little kind of all spicy flavors in there.
Okay.
Very good. Nice.
It's a very light. Yes,
just a
smidgen
smidgen dry fruit.
Yeah, just a smidgen.
Enough to kind of give it a little bit of complexity, so you're not. I'm not good at talking to mics, guys.
That's all right. I can see out of the corner of my eye our producer Alex is already. He's just losing it over there.
I learned today I don't know how to breathe right.
Yeah, you don't know how to. You get the breathe right strips.
Yeah,
that'll help.
One of these days when I grow up. But yeah, no. As far as a Kolsch is concerned, this is quite nice. A lot of times breweries use this as their throwaway style, their easy drinking, light-bodied style that you can give to your dad when he comes in, and that's unfair to the Kolsch. The Kolsch deserves the complexities that you put into any IPA or stout.
Sure.
And so to that, Kolsch.
I love it. It's a fantastic beer, and I'm going to finish mine off later because I like it that much.
Next one is
the next one is the Vienna Woods. Vienna Woods.
Vienna Woods.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Vienna style lager.
Yeah. Vienna style comes from
Vienna.
Yeah.
How about that? Austria next to Germany.
Yeah, it's a lager style beer. It's easy drinking, caramely, a little toasted notes, typically speaking.
And you'll see that the color's a little caramely as well.
I'm kind of giving you the style guidelines, and then we can try it and see
right.
how.
Yeah.
I had 2 brats in a beer.
Oh, boy.
I've been drinking.
Oh, speaking of that, it is the worst night of the week here at Valkyrie.
The worst.
The worst bratwurst night, Thursday, from June, July, and August. Every Thursday night is the worst night of the week. So come here and you can get brats from Louie's in Cumberland, Wisconsin. One of the best brats I've ever had.
Made
with
the beer.
Yes, made with the beer.
So they send their beer there, they make the brat, and they send the brats back.
Amazing.
And then they make them here and they boil them in the same beer.
Yes.
It's a beautiful circle of life.
Okay. So I went off on that tangent about brats. So let's get back to the beer.
Back to the beer.
Okay.
Vienna time.
Vienna.
Caramely, sweet.
Caramely
light body.
sweet. But not like the Vienna lager that you would have from a lot of other different places.
No.
Maybe we'll have to ask Randy about that.
A Vienna lager is also a style that doesn't vary a whole lot from brewery to brewery.
Sure.
But that being said, sometimes it is nice to find a beer at a brewery that is more on point. But Valkyrie, like we said earlier, is a very unique brewery. So.
Yeah. And we can talk about the equipment, and maybe that has a lot to do with it.
Milk tanks.
Yes, the equipment that Randy uses.
He uses milk tanks.
Well, somebody should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're brewing in their own way up here. It's
and that's what makes this place so. I mean, there are about a billion different things that make this place great, but that's one of them.
I can't say it enough.
Go ahead. Yeah, finish her off.
The
next one's because I love the name of it, the style, and we've yet to have one of these style of beers on the
First
blog.
time.
Schwartz beer.
A Schwartz beer.
Yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you.
It's called Night Wolf.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
It is for those at home, a Schwartz beer is essentially a dark pilsner.
Yeah.
If you like pilsners, but you're like, hey,
maybe I'd like this better if it were dark. Yeah.
Then Schwartz beer is the beer for you.
And the only known place at least the one place that we know.
It's a very uncommon style. Yeah. In the state of Wisconsin, I know Titletown makes a lot, but outside of that, you're not finding a whole lot of Schwartz beers.
Right.
So, I'm excited.
And you get, off the bat, you get it, the flavors of kind of a Pilsner, but...
it should be one of your lighter dark beers.
Yeah.
In the world of dark beer, there shouldn't be a ton. There should just be a little malty, roasty, something on the finish, which we've got.
Oh, yeah.
Has its own kind of a unique malt finish to it.
It is a unique malt finish. Almost, at least to my palate, dill.
Again with the dill.
Yeah. Well,
the guy's been talking about dill all day.
Love dill.
Every other sentence is dill. God.
Yeah. And maybe that's just me. You got to come here and try it for yourself.
You tell us what you taste.
The last one is one of my favorite beers here, and I think one of the locals that come here.
The beer they're best known for.
Yeah, Big Swede.
The Big Swede.
Yeah, the Imperial.
I feel like we need to get a sports star, like an athlete of some sort.
Name him Big Swede.
And name him the Big Swede.
Yeah.
It's a fun name. We don't use it enough.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody would take offense to that, but I don't think Swedish people.
I don't think if...
No.
If you call me the Big Frenchman, I'd be like,
yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Big German.
The Big German.
I'd be all right with it. It just doesn't have the name that Big Swede though. And this is one of their original beers back when they used to be Viking, right?
Yeah, this is a Viking beer.
Yeah.
They keep telling me I can't talk into a mic. I'm getting harassed here. I'm doing it.
You got to hold it like Bob Barker.
Come on down.
No, not like that though. Like this.
God.
Struggles of life for you, Troy. Struggles of life.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. You don't have to put your pinky out, but that looks cool.
It's out. It's out, man.
There again, for an Imperial, normally most Imperials that you'll drink are
big and robust.
Yeah,
this is subtle and sweet.
And very, very malty. Not typically sweet, but this one is.
Mm-hmm. Sweet, creamy, luxurious.
Yeah, but will knock you on your butt.
This is like your dad's Cadillac,
Yeah.
It looks old, but damn, it's comfortable to ride in.
It is. It's very nice. And it's, I believe it's in that book, what is it, 100 beers to drink before you die?
Beers before you,
something like that.
Before you die.
It's in there, yeah.
Which is
I love it. Every time I come here, I have it. So
I'm glad to say I had it. Yeah. I can die now.
So, and those are just four of their beers that you can have here. And depending on the season, they'll have other beers too. So Oktoberfest is coming up in about 2 months. And when you're old like us, 2 months flies by, and it seems about like 2 weeks have passed. So
by the time this airs, it's going to be November.
It'll be knocking on your door. So Oktoberfest for here, they have the first week of October. So most people have it in September. Here, it's the first week of October. They take over the entire town. and you can imagine a town of 409 people. It's probably
They
not
make a
too
very
hard.
long brat.
Yes. Well, and I'm not sure if they're doing that anymore. We'll have to ask Randy about that. They used to. But they will have brats anyway, probably made by Louis.
My favorite part, you buy the glass, then it's $2 for a fill.
$3 now.
$3?
Yeah. They raised it by $1.
$3. So
you show me a brewery that you can get a refill, a pint glass for $3 anymore, though.
yeah, it is. You can come up here and have like 3 beers for under $10.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Love the prices.
Oh, it's so great. So Oktoberfest, cheap beers, really good cheap beers. I mean, you can probably go and find cheap beers that are probably tasting horrible, or not great at the very least.
Want a Bud
But you can
Light
come
Lime?
here. Yeah, Bud Light Lime. So you probably pay $5 for Bud Light Lime. And you can come here, have great conversation. And the other thing that I really want to talk about is the pinball machine, which is I think it's still only a quarter.
Is it?
And the great thing about that, it's called the Viking machine. And some of you Packer fans probably don't appreciate that. I appreciate it. But regardless,
Way
the
to bring
money,
sports into this.
Yeah, I know, jeez.
God.
Especially with you here. The money that
Athletics number one.
Yeah, the money that they make off of that machine goes to improving the community, which you can't beat that. And then you think, well, how much can you really make off of a pinball machine, right?
How much can you make off?
How much can you make? They've made over $800 so far since they've got the pinball machine. I think it's maybe a year and a half that they've had the pinball machine.
Helping local communities,
helping their
playing
community.
some pinball quarter at a time.
Yep. To improve their park.
While drinking beers.
How can you go wrong?
Wow.
Huh?
We might as well just buy a house up here.
I've thought about it, but my wife won't let me. So, on top of that, helping the community, making fantastic beers that you will not find, I guarantee you will not find these kind of beers anywhere else. They have been brewing since 1994.
It is an experience.
Just think, I know I'm going to date myself. I'm 35 years old. So in my mind, 1994 doesn't really seem like it was that long ago. But when you actually think about how many years it was,
I'm pretty sure I was in the first grade.
Yeah. I was only 11. So to have a brewery that's been around that long and to continue brewing the great beers that they're brewing, that speaks volumes. So
the best part about the what, guys?
You're doing a fantastic job with your
I'm
mic.
trying so hard here.
I'm on your side. I really am.
It's a one of a kind brewery. Ultimately, if you're a brewery hound, I've been to like so many breweries. I've been to 178 breweries. We've all been to the industrial brewery. We've all been to the kind of there becomes a certain amount of commonality you find in these breweries. Like they all do this, like, garage doors, this, that.
Right.
When you can find a place that is truly not that and has no desire to be that, and it's its own complete, uncategorizable organization.
Yeah.
Then you find something special. And I'm sure there's breweries like this that exist elsewhere in the world, and if you know where they are,
we'd love to visit them.
Tell us about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would more than love to find them. But for you at home, stop in. Just swing in. Have a beer or 5.
And
it won't cost you much.
You go, Dallas, how do I find Dallas? Well, that's the beauty. You don't even have to use a map anymore. Just pull your phone out. You can find Dallas.
Yeah.
And there's about 1 billion different
Not
ways
that
to get
drive.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one last thing before we bring Randy in.
Oh, God.
You can't forget about the art. Because Ann, who is also the co-owner with Randy, husband and wife, Ann does all of the art around here. And you'll probably see over Troy's shoulder, there's a big mural on the wall, the bricks and kind of, mountainous area, and did all of that. And so, and if you look at the bottle art that they have, Ann did that, and it's fantastic. And
Safe to say, if you're a fan of Bob Ross,
yes,
but you want more beer involved.
Yes. Bob Ross, but more beer.
Less afro, more beer.
And maybe a few happy trees, a few less happy trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less Alaska, more Austria.
More drunken trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, having said all of that and kind of gone through some of the beers, you need to get here to Dallas. We're going to pull Randy in, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and this is Randy, one of the co-owners of Valkyrie Brewing. And so you've been open since 1994.
That's right.
An impressive length of time.
Yep, we're
24.
24 years. We've been here a while. We're the first ones into western Wisconsin, so it was an odyssey.
What was some of the lessons that you've learned over the years?
Well, the first lesson we learned was that back in those days, the average tavern only had 2.5 taps.
Yeah.
And we thought we could come up tap only. And that was quickly proven wrong, so we had to start bottling. The other thing is that people's tastes have changed quite a lot, and they're changing still. We're starting to see a swing back towards the kinds of beers that we started out doing.
Oh, really?
So we're seeing a lot more people looking for old continental styles now.
You guys brought back the Pilsner.
Yep, we brought back Pilsners. We brought back the Vienna styles. The Märzen's have always been going over pretty well, but the Vienna's coming back.
Your Vienna's quite good. We tried it tonight here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we have.
And we also had your Kolsch, which is another prime example of that.
Another good example of continental styles. So people are starting to look back at these older styles as kind of markers, fence, touch points, and see what they are again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know,
so it's kind of fun too to see the beer market. I mean, obviously you have the hop crazes going on, and the IPA is constantly changing. But it's kind of nice to see people circling back to what made beer fun.
Exactly.
Exactly. We're not having to put 100 different things in a beer to make someone drink it now. You can just say it's a good Pilsner.
Yep.
Here you go, drink it.
And there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about simplicity in beers. Sometimes the best things are just dirt simple.
I tell that my wife all the time when she talks to me. Simplicity, honey. Simplicity, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing all this complicated stuff into this.
Right. But some of the best things are just simple.
And we were talking about this earlier in the show. What I think makes you guys special is that you've never really went for the trends. You've always kind of did yourselves well, and even the beers that you make, your stouts and all that, other breweries make stouts, but your stouts are uniquely yours. You're not trying to fall into a specific category.
That's true. We don't.
You're uniquely yourself.
We try to please ourselves first, and then grab the people who like what we have.
Another complaint my wife would probably have about me.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, so and I can't say that we like the style police much.
Yeah,
because none of our beers would do well in competitions because they're all almost caricatures of the style, or they always kind of go down that style and then they take a little tweak somewhere.
Take a turn at Albuquerque somewhere
like that, and the style police kind of ding you for that kind of deal, you know. But if everybody did just straight styles, you wouldn't have that much interesting things going on.
That's at one point in time I was training to become a beer judge, and I did 2 competitions, and I quit because I'm like, you just sit there with the style guide in front of you, and you drink, and you're checking off the list. And I'm like, this isn't fun. This is not what makes beer fun, because if everyone makes the same beer, then what's the point of everyone making it?
Exactly. You have to put your own spin on the beer.
That's what always pulls me back to like a brewery like yourself, is like, oh, I can go get their Abbey. I love your Abbey. It's one of the most unique Abbeys on the planet, and I always go back to it because it's so special and unique.
Yeah, so we try to do that here, just to be a little bit different.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to differentiate yourself from everything else, and everybody else is free to go off and after the style du jour, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of differentiating yourself, would you say that the equipment that you brew on, do you know anybody else that uses milk bulk tanks? And
not anymore.
I know one other brewery.
It was very common when we started. It's called a Frankenstein brewery.
Sure.
And it was very common when we started to using milk tanks, and everybody's pretty well gotten out of them into normal beer equipment since then. Part of the drive for that is most people are very space constrained, so you need specific equipment that can deal with the space, and milk equipment is not space friendly.
More width, less height.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, the only other brewery that I saw that uses dairy equipment on a commercial scale is Sprecher.
Sprecher, yes.
And ironically, the owners of Sprecher are also named Randy and Ann. I'm not saying that all Randy and Anns who own breweries have to have dairy equipment, but the trend would suggest that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those guys are pretty old, and they would have been in it.
They've been in it for 33 years, I think.
Quick, in the point where we can scrounge equipment to make this happen.
Yeah.
I think there's another one, Husky Brewing.
Black Husky.
Oh, yeah.
Black Husky, I
Down
think,
in
was
Milwaukee.
in. No, well, they were up in. They started out in Florence.
Yeah, but they're in
okay.
Milwaukee
way
now.
up in the
Okay.
way up in the near the UP border, and they started out with milk equipment too. I
Oh,
think.
wow.
So, but there aren't very many people who use it anymore.
No, yeah.
So,
Only Randy's and Ann's.
yeah.
Only Randy's and Ann's. And if you know another Randy and Ann, let us know if they use milking equipment for their brewing.
Just simply another Randy and Ann that own a brewery would be a fine.
How many?
Stubborn Scandinavians. We continue to do it.
Thank God.
Yeah. So we've talked about beer styles. We've talked about equipment a little bit. Let's talk about Oktoberfest here in Dallas, Wisconsin, because it's such a big deal.
It is. We put a couple thousand people into town.
Right.
Even
on that.
Kind of back to what you said, even your guys' Oktoberfest beer is not a traditional Oktoberfest. It's a smoked one, correct?
It's smoked, yep. We
Kinda adds a
put
nice
Beechwood
little-
smoked malt in it.
Adds a nice little level of complexity and flavor to the beer.
Whispering
Yes.
Embers, is that right?
Whispering Embers,
Yeah.
yep. That's a wonderful beer. I
Yeah.
love that beer. It also is really good in things.
Yeah.
So we make the brats we do for Oktoberfest is made with the Whispering Embers in it. We at that time of fall we end up doing a lot of pork roasts at home
Yeah.
and Whispering Embers as a marinade.
Okay.
I now have something to do when I get home.
See-
Apples and cabbage and Whispering Embers.
Ooh. See, the problem I have is I like the beer so much that I have a hard time just pouring it in without. So it usually takes.
We have the advantage of having a lot more of
That's
it.
true. That's true.
Randy's like, my secret is just brew it.
So we
Gonna go
got the beer that you're going to have for the fest. Let's talk a little bit about how it just kind of engulfs this town.
Yeah, we take over town, and we have all kinds of things going on during the day. Starts at 7 in the morning with pancake breakfast, but it's set up and then we end at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
So it's just about getting dark.
I'm not going to lie to you. As a person who's getting old, that was perfect timing for me.
Yep. The nice thing about it is that everybody has a good time without having too good a time,
Yeah.
and you don't end up with
We're not rolling
problems
anyone
from
out
it.
here.
Right.
Challenge accepted.
And so it ends up being the feel ends up being a like a big family reunion,
Sure.
and and we have people of all ages in here, from strollers to walkers and everything
Yeah.
in between. And so, and everybody's having just a good time. So it's just a very laid back, really
The way a
friendly
town
event.
festival should be.
Yeah, exactly.
In bed by 9.
Yep. Yep.
But I've noticed, because I've been here a couple times for the Oktoberfest, and I noticed that it's just community. People come out that probably don't always come out to town.
Oh no, we have all kinds of people here that come specifically for that
Yeah.
event from 3 or 4 states.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You still fire the cannon off?
Oh yeah, got to have that.
See, I'm actually this is gonna be the first year I've been able to come. Being that the first weekend in October is a very popular weekend for weddings.
Oh yes,
I've
it
had
is.
weddings for the last 4 years.
Well, you have to look me up then, and I'll let you fire the cannon.
I can fire a cannon. I'm gonna go home and tell the wife this immediately.
Yeah.
Text her right now.
Yeah.
I'm shooting a cannon.
It's worth it. I just watched. It's a thrill just to watch.
Well, you guys had your Oktoberfest. My sister is getting married up north of here, and Andy Hoffman on his way up, one of the TRT guys, stopped at the Oktoberfest, then came up to the wedding, and he was like, "It was so much fun." I'm like, "Shut up, Andy." I'm like, "It's your sister's wedding. You should be happy to be here." And I'm like,
Right.
I mean, I am, but
not.
I mean,
at the same time, it could have been
Oktoberfest, though.
Oktoberfest.
Yep.
Yeah,
Better than smiling and wearing a monkey suit.
that's true.
I should put in a note about the cannon, by the way, as long
Yeah.
as we mentioned it here.
Yeah.
I got that for Anne as a Mother's Day present.
Okay.
I got my wife a
5,
teddy bear.
6, 7 years ago.
yeah.
So
That's a heck of a Mother's Day present.
How do you-
oh, she loves that thing.
Does she?
The
Oh,
question
yeah.
is, how do you
man.
follow that up? What do you get her the next year?
Yeah, it is a little hard to stay on top of these things, you know.
You got to get her a
You
double
gotta
barrel
curve,
cannon,
you know.
and you get a 3-barrel cannon.
My father-in-law always said, "Don't set the bar too high.
Yeah.
Figure out when the end's going to be, and then just kind of work your way up from there."
Right there, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I got you a whole box of chocolates
Right.
this year instead
Right.
of a half
There
a
you
box.
go. So there's so many things to do here. I mean, Oktoberfest, and then you have all your seasonal different beers. So from we can probably talk about that too, because you have a unique set of time that you're open throughout the year.
Yep. It's just Ann and I.
Right,
So
right.
we got other things to do.
Yeah.
And bottling and whatever else we got to do here. So we only keep the tap room open most of the years, just Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Okay.
And during the summer, then we also added Thursdays here with the worst night of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I had two
for the
brats.
tourists coming through.
Yep.
So the rest of the week we got things to do,
Right.
bottling
Sure.
or whatever else
Sure.
we got to do. So we have fairly limited hours in the tap room.
And it's not that you're open at noon on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays,
Yep,
right?
yep. And then we close around 8,
Right.
depending on who we've got here.
Sure. Well, when you got hoodlums like us in here, who knows what time you? Yeah.
Romeo.
Kind of depends on what time people want to go home, but
Right.
usually most
Yep.
of the people up here are tourists, so they've got other places to go.
Sure.
So they've never really.
Once again, you're talking my kind of hours, done by 8.
Yeah, done by
bed
8.
by 9.
Everybody's home.
Yep.
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 And we got to get to bed because we got things to do in the morning. So
So do you have any? So we've covered kind of all of the things I think that I wanted to cover with you. But do you have any new beers that are coming up anytime soon, or anything that you're working on, or?
Well, we've always got something in the works, just as a thinking about it,
Right.
and as a
Right.
tweak it a little bit here, or how
Yeah.
are we going to do this differently, or we ought to do that style kind of thing. There's always something going on there. We try to do something, one or two a year new.
That's kind of the fun about beer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's years ago. I'm also a programmer.
Sure.
Years ago, I had somebody ask me, "Is programming an art or a science?" And said yes. And brewing is pretty much the same thing.
Right. Right.
If
I
you're
would
doing
fully
it,
agree
if
with
you're
you on
right, if
that.
you're doing it right, it's both. You need the art in order to create it, and you need the science in order to replicate it.
Yep.
I always said that's what makes beer so fun. It's one of the few things. It's a consumable art. Like somebody.
Exactly.
It's engineering at its finest. It's history. But yet, as much as it is a history, like a Vienna Lager Pilsner has all these great traditional histories, and yet it's also, what can I do different? Well, how
Yep.
can I push the envelope? And so it straddles the fence in numerous ways, and thus it makes going to breweries fun.
Yep.
You know,
That's
because
the
you go to a
thing.
sandwich shop, everyone makes the same, like McDonald's. Everyone makes the same burger. You come here, you go to a different brewery. You have your own twist on a beer. Another brewery has its own twist on a beer.
And that's a very apt analogy, because we think of ourselves more like a chef.
Yeah.
So we work in liquids and they work in solids.
Right.
But we have very similar goals
Yeah.
to it. So we approach beer as a food. So how you want that food to be in itself, right? So yeah, and there's plenty of breweries out that are the McDonald's of the stuff, But you want to be the chef kind of brewer.
The other
And,
thing I will say about your beer too is and the biggest thing that I like in beer is consistency. I can honestly say your beer is as consistent as any of the consistent beers I've ever had.
Wow.
I know when I open up a bottle,
Yep.
and I there's always little
You get a little bit
differences.
little differences
But as
here
far
and
as
there.
what the human mind remembers,
Yeah.
when I open that bottle, I know what I'm going to taste.
But actually, I always said consistent. Too much, 100% consistency scares me. There was
Right.
this burrito company I always used to go to. There was like 10 around town. And every time I went to a different place and ordered the same burrito, it was about 10% to 20% different in every place, which meant that somebody actually made my burrito as opposed to just warmed it up in a microwave.
There's that.
So
You always get some. You always get some variation batch to batch because
Sure.
there's 1,000 different knobs that get turned, and most of
Right.
them you haven't got that much
Humidity.
control of.
Yep,
You know,
temperature and all
temperature
that,
and season to season
Yeah.
and during the seasons with ingredients and everything else,
Yep.
and so you always get some variation on there. We try to hold it down, but it's impossible to do completely.
yeah.
my question to you is, what beer of yours do you drink the most of throughout the year?
Well, I don't have a go-to beer for the year, so mine tend to hit the seasonals in there. Personally, I like Bavarian and Bohemian styles, so my favorite is the Doppelbock.
The what one?
The Doppelbock, the Invader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Invader's
Yeah.
fantastic.
You know, and when that's out of season, then I tend to drink beers something like them. So you get like things like the Nightwolf or
yeah.
Vienna Woods.
Yeah.
The Vienna Woods is actually an offshoot of a homebrew recipe that I started in about 1985.
Wow.
I wasn't even born then.
So
That's how young Troy is.
I go that kind of way now. And she likes stouts and porters, so her go-to beer is Big Sweet.
Oh yeah.
My favorite beer of your guys is, hands down, hot chocolate.
That's a fun beer.
Uh,
That's a great.
that is the most. I do not like spice beers. I think ultimately spice beers could never exist again, and I'd be okay with it. But yours is the perfect amount of spice.
Just a little bit there.
Just enough.
You don't even know you're drinking a spice
get it
beer
right on the back of your
until
throat.
you get it on
After
the back.
a while back,
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute, I'm
That's
getting
what
warm.
you want. Just the perfect level of complexity with the spice. You're not going to punch me in the face with
And that
it.
goes back to the food thing again. When you have a plate full of food, you don't want any one thing to be standing out.
Yeah.
Right.
You want it to play nice together and blend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why we did it that way. We were just doing it as a warmer. In fact, that one came out of a demand that Ann had for me one day.
Don't they all?
We're open year round, right?
Yep.
And so we were doing tours one year in February.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And
The
downstairs.
warmest time of year in Wisconsin.
The warmest time of year in Wisconsin. It was appropriately chilly downstairs, and that was way before the tap room, so it was cold. And she was freezing, and she said, "I need a beer that warms me up, and I want chocolate now."
Yeah.
So it was like, okay. How are we going to do that?
I have no idea. That worked out for all of us,
Yeah.
in particular me.
Well, and it's February, so Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Off we go.
Works out great.
Yeah.
So we created that beer, and it turns out that that was that was back in probably 2000 or a little bit before that.
Sure.
Oh, God.
It turns out
18 years ago.
that was
That's crazy. You were
a
making
Central American thing, you know.
You were making a peppered beer 18 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you at home who are craft beer nerds know that no one was making
Nobody was.
making a spiced beer like that
No.
18 years ago. You're a cutting edge, man.
Well, we just kind of like to play around on a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder how this will work, you know.
And that is where we're going to end because I
Cutting
got a
edge.
few little plugs I want to end with. So
You
if
bet.
we want to find Valkyrie, Facebook is probably the best place to go, right?
Yep, probably.
So social media,
The media's
check
social.
Valkyrie out on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook too. We'll link to Valkyrie on this video so you can go and find them on Facebook. And then come to Dallas, Wisconsin and check out Valkyrie. See Randy, see Ann. It's probably the best thing that you're going to find, and it's delightfully unique. And if you have the chance, first week of October, come and check out Oktoberfest.
You might see us here, actually.
Yeah, you might see us here.
If you ever said, hey, that guy's ugly, I'd like to see him in real life.
And if you see us here, I promise you I'll buy you a beer. Just come up to me
I'll
and say
promise
hi.
he'll let you land and buy you a beer.
That's the boy. Until next time, everybody. Prost.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, you can click down below where there's some more episodes for you to watch. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on episodes that you do watch. We hope to see you next time.